What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mario back again with another Suits to devlog. This one's for May, and there's been a lot. We finished the second district with its quests and side quests. We are currently on the third district, as you can see. This is very different, and yeah, we just kind of started. So hopefully try to get these things done once a month, and we'll get there soon. So if we get this district done, that means we only have 2 more, I believe. Yes. And the final place. So anyway, I'm not going to really talk too much about this district particularly. It's not even done. But I am here to talk about some new features we added. So, something that lacked in Suits while working, I noticed, is just that everything kind of felt pretty flat. You know, we kind of have this perspective. It's not really top down, but it's kind of like, I would say, 45-degree angle kind of orthographic view. And particularly working on this district, I realized that these buildings are just flat. Like, and this was just something that was always going through my head a lot, and I decided, you know, this is the final straw. I gotta do something about this. So you might notice that there's some shadowing here. Kind of like an ambient occlusion. That was what I was kind of going for. It's really simple technique. All it is just it's just an image, and I just stretch it out underneath these buildings, and it gives this nice shadowy effect, and you can kind of see that this gives it a lot more depth. Like, now you can see where this is kind of like the wall, like the back side of the building. It's not like just this big flat square. It is like, you know, it looks like a 3-dimensional object, or feels like it. The player also has their own little shadow, and so do all the NPCs. Got some more shadowing over here. More buildings here with shadows. It's a really nice look, and everybody agrees it looks nice. In other news, we're changing the name from Suits Absolute Power to Suits Absolute Business. As much as personally I did not want that, since I've been calling it Absolute Power for the longest time, and it's just kind of now annoying that we have to do this. But the community thought that was a better name, so nothing is ever final. So we're gonna go with that name for now. But what I really am making this video for is to show you guys some really a new cool feature I added to Suits that will be in the final game, but you have to beat the game to unlock it, because I think it's a little, you know, it's practically cheating if you use this tool. Is for mainly just us to debug and test things out. So GameMaker already has a debugger, and as nice as that is, this is just here. This what I made makes it a lot easier to do things within the game, so that you don't necessarily need to use a debugger all the time. Debugger's great for other things, a lot of things, but something's like, you know, if I want to move the player around because he's stuck, I can do that through the debugger, but it's going to take me a while to find the player instance and all that jazz. And to see certain things, it's a pain, because once you have a lot of items in a room, you cannot find it that easily, especially a specific object. Especially if there's multiple of the same objects, like collision objects. Anywho, so now, time to show you what I made. Over the weekend, I did this to procrastinate from studying for my final, and it is a command console. Like, you know, if you played like Valve games, you know, you press the tilde and boom, you get this thing. You can do like SV cheats 1, but that does nothing because I didn't make it do anything. So I'm going to start a list of commands from top to bottom. So the first command I made is move player. Move player, all it does is that you give it a set of coordinates. You say move player, you give it a set of coordinates. Another thing you might notice is that my mouse cursor has an orange box. That way, that's the mouse debugger. I can hover over objects, and you can see that it gives me a list of important stuff mostly for me, like alarms are a big thing. If alarm is not triggering, like where it should be triggering, this is perfect. I can see it like right here by hovering over them. There is also a function to turn this off if you don't like it. And it gives me all sorts of position and whatnot in the instance and the name of the object. Really great. Another great thing too I could do is I can't see the current coordinates of the room. And I don't really have anything that shows you like your X and Y of the mouse position, but I do have it so if you right click, it can give you that position. It's just a really nice fast way of just like doing things like this. So boom, press enter, and I can actually press up and it give me back the last thing I typed, and I can say move that guy over there. And it's perfect. And I press F6, the camera smoothly comes back, and you know, it's following the player again. Now, another thing I did too for this thing when you go into debug mode is you can move around the camera using the home and delete and page down keys, since I had no other keys available to, you know, move the camera around. And you can view all these like buildings and all that stuff. It's really neat. A reason why I'm allowing this tool to stay in the final game is just because I feel like players, you know, there's definitely a lot of players who want to see how we build these games, and they want to just explore. You know, there's also a YouTube series called Out of Bounds or something, where they kind of like, they talk with a developer and they go and see like behind the scenes of how the game works. It's really cool, and I really like that. I think more people should really do that, but this is kind of like the reward for beating the game. So yes. Now I'm going to tab out real quick so I can drag over my list of commands here. Alright. So let's open up my inventory. So let's see. My key items, I only have room 42 key, which I'm going to say, guys, room 42 was accidentally deleted and I can't get it back. I don't even know how I deleted it. All I know is that when I looked up a repository, I saw it was deleted. So it could have been something that when I was doing something in GameMaker, I must have deleted by accident. That's kind of why I built this. So I don't have to make room 42, which was the debug room, to test out things like battles. So the next thing is we're going to add item. So this, at first it was just add use items, because I was going to make individual add, you know, use, add key, add equip, whatever. But I realized it's probably a lot easier if I make one and I just give it some parameters like key, and I give it 999. Tab out. Now I have a test item, which is nice. So the next thing on this list is the create. So as of right now, I have no way to show us a list of all the objects we have in this game, and rooms and assets. Any assets, I have no way of doing that. I might though. So I think now that I think about it, I think I know how I can do it, but that doesn't matter. So we gotta create, and I'm gonna create a simple NPC, just object, and I'm gonna give this coordinate position. Boom. And guess what? Once he moves from that position, boom, boom. Yeah, that's super neat. And they all have their own little unique instance IDs. The only thing is they won't say anything because they don't have any dialogue inside. But this is just, like I said, this is really more debug. Yeah, it doesn't matter about editing the interiors of them. They're not going to be used for much. Now, this console, I do actually want to try and implement some kind of modding so that, you know, people can make their own little like items and whatnot, and use the console to access that and to, you know, to make that stuff. But since really isn't the kind of game where modding is super gonna be useful, but you know, it's just a neat little thing to add. That's really kind of just a little learning and practice. All right, so now I have a bunch of NPCs. It's really annoying. I don't like these guys at all, so I'm just going to type in delete. And I could hover over this guy and type down and keep following him like this and type down his instance ID. But I could just left click on him and I get the instance ID and boom, he's gone. That's super neat. Now I have 3 commands here that are kind of like all together. They work together. But I'm going to do this one that is the last one, or not the last one of these 3, which is stop sounds. Now, every single sound stopped playing. I have made a play. This plays any kind of sound, so sound effects, music. I mean, they're all the same under Game Maker's engine. So I'll just do like Quest 1, which is the name of the sound that does this. And we can do play loop. So this is perfect for playing a music track and changing the track, whatnot. I can do play loop, zip perfect song. It's a pretty neat thing. It's just nice to have that. I mean, there might not be really too much of a use for it, but hey, it's there. So if I just say stop sounds. Alright, so let's go to the next one. Alright, so the next one is a really useful one. This is the kind of stuff that's more like, this is where we're gonna really need it. So go to is basically just changing the room. So we're gonna go to Tiptopolis real quick. Tip top. And as you can see, I also updated Tip Top with these shadows. Very nice, very cool. So because room 42 was the room where I could test battles out, and then now it's gone, I did not want to go back and create a ton of NPCs that had this like code to start the battle. So I decided just to add a battle command and Floyd battle. And yeah, you can start a battle from anywhere. And it works really well. So I'm just gonna hit reset, go back to Tiptopolis, because Tiptopolis is actually, doesn't have the snow, and so we can go to Tip Top. Okay, so this is where a problem can happen, where when you move rooms, like this is the position, it's the same position you were in last time. But in Game Maker, like because levels can be different sizes and stuff, it doesn't really matter. It'll just put you in that same position. So if this was like 1000, 1000, this is 1000, 1000 from the previous room. If that makes any sense. But you know what? We have a debugger, and we can move the camera up. Sometimes you're way out. If you have a tiny room, you're going to be way out of the screen if you're like at the farthest edge of the district or something. And we're just going to just do move player again. Boom, he's back. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, as you can see, if you didn't type it right, it doesn't work. Which, the thing with this is that I have a lot of checks to see, oh, does this even exist? And if it doesn't, then it just does nothing. Some things might actually crash the game because I don't really have a proper way of checking to see if you failed. Like, sometimes it's like, I really can only put so much, but because it's really a dev tool, and I know how to use it, and I'm going to put some documentations on how to use this too, for players once they actually unlock it. So, another thing you can see is that, like I said, shadows have been added to, like, it's a little hard to notice some of these, but you can kind of notice that there's just a little bit of darkening here. Definitely here. It makes it look pretty nice. And just makes this game just feel overall better for me. So the next thing we got is cache. So You know, one thing that is really useful is because this game runs on cache. We can add cache, and now you can see we have a lot of cache. Next, level up. It is just that. You just level up, and you can keep leveling up like this. This is great to test out, you know, what levels you should be, by what district, you know, the stat changes, and whatnot. So the next thing we got is shadows. Okay, so this is just here for fun. I mean, I just kind of... Did I type? Oh, it's shadows. Hold on. Shadows 0. We can actually turn on and off the shadows. I don't think that's going to be any performance, like... I don't think this game is intensive enough for this to make a difference. Shadows 1. But it does show you kind of like the difference for, you know, depth and stuff. So it's just there for fun. And then the final function I added recently, draw collisions 1. This is perfect because it gets, you know, you can kind of see how the collision for the player and these objects all work, and you'll see just how there's a lot of parts where, you know, I don't fill everything up perfectly with collision boxes. You also see how bad GameMaker is in handling collisions because, for example, you would think, oh, this box would stop like right on the edge, but it goes a little bit in, and if you run, you even get just a bit more in, which is kind of crappy and kind of ruins some things. So yeah, it's something I might have to look into some more, but it's not the biggest like issue right now. I should also draw like doors. There are door objects that are just like a blue box that look like collisions. But I don't have that. So, but I might just add it within the collisions too. It also is a collision. But yeah, that's basically it for all the commands so far. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Follow us on join our Discord. We're always on. You can always talk to us. We have a pretty active community, mildly active community. Follow us on Twitter, where we'll be updating. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.